Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. So today's lesson, we're going to talk about operations for rational expressions, and we're going to rely heavily on the idea that rational expressions are very similar to rational numbers. And so throughout this lesson, we're going to look at what we did with rational numbers back in elementary school and junior high and see if that gives us some insight in how we treat rational expressions when we try to multiply, divide, add, and subtract them. Now, don't worry if you're not that great with fractions. We got lots of supports for you throughout the lesson. So let's go ahead and begin. So they want me to multiply these two rational expressions together, x times x minus 3 over x plus 1 times 5 over x squared. Now I see that over here with rational numbers, I'm given 3 over 4 times 5 over 6. And in the next step, I have 3 times 5 over 4 times 6. So I see that the numerators have been multiplied and the denominators have been multiplied. And that gives us this single fraction right here. Now I can do the same thing with the rational expression. I'm just going to multiply the numerators and the denominators together and get a single fraction. So I'll have x times x minus 3 times 5 on the top. And I'll have x plus 1 times x squared on the bottom. Now I look at the next step with my rational numbers, and what they did is they factored everything that could be factored. So 4, they factored as 2 times 2, and 6, they factored as 2 times 3, and that helped us see that we had a 3 in common to the numerator and the denominator that we were able to divide out and get rid of. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to factor out everything that can be factored. So on the top, x can't be factored, it's just x. X minus 3 can't be factored. 5 is prime, it can't be factored. X plus 1 is linear and cannot be factored. And x squared I can factor as x times x. So I'm going to write that as x times x. And notice that there's an x on the top and on the bottom. So I can divide the top and bottom both by x, and those x's will be gone. And then after we do that, we just put stuff back together. So over here, they took the 2 times 2 times 2 that was left and multiplied them together to get 8. And the 5 was by itself on top, so it's just 5. Over here, you can see that what I have here is the same as this answer, just reordered a little bit. So they put the 5 and the x out in front. Or you can combine those together by distributing the 5 and distributing the x and get 5x minus 15 over x times x plus 1, or you could write x squared plus x. And that is how you multiply rational expressions. So the steps were write it as a single fraction by multiplying the numerator and denominators, and then factor out everything as far as you can and simplify, and that is your result. Same process for rational expressions. So that sort of idea of looking at the rational numbers as a guide to get a process for the rational expressions, you're going to do that throughout the lesson for division, for addition, and for subtraction. And each problem has the answers at the bottom to make sure that you did the process right and got to the same thing. So be checking to see if everything makes sense and works out in the end. If you get to the end of the problem and you end up with something different, then that's a sign that maybe there was a mistake made and you need to go back and look at what you did. Okay, email me if you have any questions, and feel free to check out the other videos.